All right, we are late. I was about to say, we are ladies, ready, and gentlemen. We are ready, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to get started with that next volume of Hunter x Hunter. Let's begin, shall we? Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to Hunter x Hunter. In the last volume, we got introduced to all the major characters we're going to be dealing with in the series, Gon, Kurapika, and Leorio, and they're taking part of the Hunter exam in order to get their Hunter license. We've seen the reasons as to why they're joining. So with Gon, he wants to find his dad. With Kurapika, he wants to gain enough influence so he can find the Phantom Troop and get back the eyes of his clanspeople and get those back because of the tribe he's from. And Leorio wants to get his hand on a whole bunch of money. But despite the slightly superficial reason that he gives at the beginning, we see that he's a lot more compassionate than he appears. Kitty, it's good to see you. I was watching, and I was there live during the premiere for the Borderlands for Amon character trailer. They have made it incredibly difficult for me to decide who I actually want to play in that game after Vex. Because Vex is going to be the first character, but they've made it incredibly difficult, and we don't even know what Harlow's is yet. So, there's that. But let's get started. We are going to be going through Volume 2, which includes... Hold on. If it's keeping with the 8-chapter apiece, then Volume 2 is going to be Chapter 9 all the way to 17. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, so much for me thinking it was only going to be 8 chapters. But yeah, last we left off, they made their way into the Millsy Woods, but basically this giant marshland that's full of monsters that anyone can easily get lost in. And people are dying left and right. They're getting eaten by all sorts of creatures, and the fog is making it incredibly difficult for them to keep up with Satots, who is the examiner for this portion of the exam. And now we end the last chapter with multiple hunters or multiple people who want to become multiple examinees getting killed by playing cards, wielded by Hisoka, who says, "I'm playing examiner." So let's begin with Chapter 9, A Struggle in the Mist. And here we have a page at the front, no less. Instead of it being at the end, we get like these little images off to the side. Also, if you guys want to follow along with me, find it on the internet and read along, because I am not putting myself under fire for copyright by showing you images of what I'm looking at Viz. I am not doing that. All right? If anyone has an issue, hey, you are free to find someone else, but this is how I do things. So that way I can keep doing these things. But here we have an illustrated image of Satots, complete with big old curly mustache, but we still don't see a mouth. And now we cut back to all the examinees who some have been killed, some have been decapitated, a lot have been grievously injured by Hisoka and his playing cards, while he's walking up to Kurapika and Leorio. Because, mind you, Gon and Killua are all the way at the front because they're keeping up with Satots. They're pretty much the only people that are keeping up with Satots evenly. But we see a hunter with a card in his head, another with one in his neck, and Hisoka just flipping cards between his fingers. Because Kurapika got sliced in the, Leorio got sliced in the arm. Yo, Ogata, it's good to see you! Leorio is holding his arm because he got sliced with a card, while Kurapika has both of his dual swords out and he blocked one of the cards from Hisoka. And then Hisoka speaks. I meant to hold off until the second phase, but this first phase is unutterably boring. So I thought I'd assist in the selection process. And he's flipping cards and he holds up a Joker card. So I thought I'd assist in the selection process and judge your acceptability. Now, while he's saying that, all the other examinees that are with Leorio and Kurapika that are still alive, one goes, "Judge us? You? Idiot, we've lost the examiner in this mist. We have no idea what way he and those still with him went." Do you think Satots will grow a mouth later on? Uh, it's anyone's guess. Because I thought Monspeed was going to have a mouth in Seven Deadly Sins, and he never did. He never did. Mihai! Hello! It's good to see you! Another member that dropped in! Hello! We are on the first chapter for this volume, but let me get back to it. Idiot! We've lost the examiner in this mist. We have no idea what way he and those still with them went! Which means everyone here has failed! That includes you! Quite wrong. And then Hisoka just flicks a card and embeds it in that dude's skull, killing him. Yes, you failed, but I haven't. A lesson before dying, gentlemen. A true magician never runs out of tricks. And everyone brandishes their sword because they're all about to attack Hisoka. Like, we see people with knives and spears and swords, a kanabo, a bat with nails in it. A homicidal maniac like you has no right to be a hunter. Hope you enjoyed the exam, cause it's your last. And Hisoka is just looking around at everyone with still a slight smile on his face. Let's see. Yes, this one should suffice. And he's holding up the four of hearts. And then the other ones are just going, up yours! And in an instant, Hisoka is dodging hits and using this one card to slice the throats of everyone who's tried to attack him. And mind you, he's slicing everyone. They're still standing. He lands in front, and then he snaps his fingers, and that's when all these injuries continue to kill. First time here? Well, what is it, Shekinah? What's going on? Hi. Enjoy yourself while you're here. Enjoy my dramatic reading of manga, but everyone else can tell you. But he snaps his fingers, and all these injuries that everyone's taken, they all just start spraying blood as the effects actually happen. You know, like slice everyone with a sword, and then you go like, shh. Everyone is fine, and then you, ding, and that's when everyone explodes from the injuries. And he just continues to slice throats, while Kurapika and Leorio watch on. And then Hisoka just starts laughing after slashing so many throats. And he continues to slice more and more and more throats until everyone is dead except for Leorio and Kurapika. So many dropouts. And then he looks over at them. Just you three left. Because it shows another person is still alive. Contestant 716 or 76? I want to say 76. And he just starts to walk towards them. And the Leorio's thinking, hey, no. It's contestant 76. He goes, hey, when I say go, we split up. Got it? It's our only hope. Know why? Because he is a homicidal maniac. An entire army could be backing us up, and we still wouldn't have a chance against him. Mind you, this dude is sweating bullets because he knows how much of a threat Hisoka is. You guys have your reasons for wanting to be hunters, and probably don't like the idea of running, but it's our own sane option. And then it just shows Kurapika, Leorio, and Hisoka who continues to walk. Go! And they all split in 3 directions. Curious, have I seen the anime? I have. And it was actually posed to me whether I wanted to continue where the anime left off or if I wanted to read from the beginning. But I only felt it was right for me to read from the beginning just in case no one looks at the anime and finds it weird that I'm picking up where the anime left off, and I never did a reaction to the anime itself back then. So it feels better for me to just read this from the beginning and go past where the anime is for the consistency. But they all go in 3 directions, and then Hisoka just says, smart move. For that, I'll grant you 10 seconds. 1, 2, and as the 3 are running, we get down to Hisoka going, 9, 10. And now, who do I chase down first? But then someone comes back, and it's Leorio. Leorio comes back. He's got his tie around his arm in order to bind the cut, and he got his own little stick. Don't strain your brain. I'm not the sort to just suck it up without a quick payback! And he goes to fight Hisoka. And then someone goes, Leorio! I can't tell if that's Kurapika, though, because it doesn't look like he's saying that. But it could be Kurapika saying, Leorio! Huh? That idiot! And then back to Hisoka again. I like your spirit. And when Leorio goes to try and hit Hisoka, Hisoka literally just shambles, and it is right behind him. But before Hisoka can do anything to Leorio, Hisoka gets hit in the face by something. That looks like a fish lure. It is. I knew it because the way you imitate the character, specifically Hisoka, is on point. See? And that's what I do for all of my manga. That's what I do for all of my manga readings. I try to make it as authentic as possible. I did that for Dragon Ball, did that for Jujutsu Kaisen, My Hero Academia, Fire Force, everybody. Wow, that really got me. But it is a fish lure, and Hisoka is still looking in that one direction after getting hit in the head. Leorio looks back, and it's Gon! Gon? And then Gon is looking and huffing and puffing because apparently he was running all that way. And Hisoka, after looking in that one direction, looks back, and we see an actual mark on him. And he says, not bad. A fishing rod? How original. May I see? And as he starts to walk towards Gon, Leorio goes up behind him to try and hit him, but Hisoka just casually punches him in the face, Shoryuken, and sends Leorio flying, knocking his glasses off too. Now, while Hisoka is distracted, Gon goes in to try and smack him with his fishing rod. Then all of a sudden, Hisoka is gone, and then all of a sudden, a chill runs down Gon's spine as Hisoka is directly next to Gon's face, and he has his hand around Gon's throat already. And you nailed Jin's voice even before the anime released? Thank you. That's such a compliment. Before they even announced anybody, apparently I nailed the voice, but thank you. But Hisoka has Gon by the throat. Here to help your friend. There's a loyal lad. And Gon is sweating. Then we get Kurapika, who's watching. And then we have Hisoka, who lets go of his throat. And he just kneels down in front of Gon. Don't worry, I'm done with him. He's alive and he's passed. And he's really eerily smiling in front of Gon's face. As have you. You'll make a good hunter. And then a beep comes in. And he's got like a walkie-talkie as it goes to, Hisoka, get a move on. The second phase is about to begin. Check. Be right there. Friendship is a fine thing. You okay on your own? And then Gon hasn't said anything and he just nods. Good lad. And then he just disappears into the fog after picking up Leorio. He just picks up Leorio and just disappears into the fog. And then Kurapika runs up. Gon! And then we get narration. Hisoka, the magician, as peculiar and enigmatic a creature as Gon has ever met. And mind you, Gon's heart is beating as he's dropped to his knees and he's still sweating. And then that's the end of chapter 9. And we get a character at the end by the name of Menchi. Woman with, I want it. What do you even call that? Extensions of hair that are jutting out from her hair, but she also has long bangs as well. But yeah, Menchi at the end of chapter 9. Onwards to chapter 10. And I said all the way up to from 9 to 17. So yeah. Chapter 10, An Unexpected Task. And we cut to the forest again. And the contestant who said to run is strung up in the trees with a card embedded in his forehead. And we see Kurapika and Gon run past him, but he's a bit of a distance away to the point where his body is, on the opposite side of the tree, so they can't actively see his body, least of all Kurapika. They run past him, the birds are picking at him. Hisoka found him and took him out. Wow. But then it cuts to Gon, who's running with Kurapika, sniffing, going,
"This way!"
You really smell them?
"Yeah. Leorio wears distinct cologne. Its scent carries for several miles."
For you, perhaps.
"Notice the animal carcasses littering the way? They probably tried to attack Hisoka." "Say, Kurapika, what do you think Hisoka meant when he said, 'Leorio and I passed'?"
I'm done with him. He's alive, and he's passed.
because these are the words that Gon is thinking of. Kurapika isn't saying anything.
As he seems to see himself as an examiner, I would say it was your grade.
"I don't know. All he did was look at me for a second."
You were always the only one to get a hit. You were also the only one to get a hit on him.
"That's true. But what about Leorio? Hisoka walloped him." "But he still passed."
Kurapika's silent.
Perhaps Hisoka is relying on what his instincts tell him.
"Yeah, kinda like Killua."
I can smell it.
And that's Killua saying that in Gon's thoughts.
In my opinion, Hisoka is too bloodthirsty to be a hunter. Even so, his technique is brilliant, and his dexterity nearly superhuman. In terms of combat capability, I've never encountered his equal. And those with unique abilities often sense such things in others. With his intuition and experience, he may very well have picked up on your potential and deemed it worthy. He may have decided that to kill you now would be premature.
And Gon isn't saying anything. Where am I reading the manga? On the official Viz.com site, the Viz Shonen Jump site. That's where I read it from. And since I have a membership there for a membership, I get to read all of these chapters, all the time. So yeah, that's where I read all of my manga from. If it's manhwa, then I read it from Tapas. I stick to official sources. That's how I've been for a great number of years now.
He may have decided that to kill you now would be premature.
And Gon isn't saying anything.
Sorry, that was out of line.
"It's okay. I'm starting to understand the weirdness I felt back there. All those dead bodies lying around, and Hisoka the killer walking toward me. Honestly, I was scared. I wanted to run, but I couldn't. I knew I was no match for him. I figured I was dead. The thing is, even facing certain death, well, it's weird, but it felt pretty exciting too."
And then we cut to a completely different building. And there's growling inside. And we have someone speaking, and I think this is Sato's going, "We've come through the swamp. Well done, all of you. This is the Visca Forest Preserve, where we will conduct the second phase." So we see a bunch of different people here, including some of the people that Topa brought up. He's made it, along with all the other people that he's introduced us to, Hisoka and Killua. "This is where we part. I wish you all good luck." And then there's growling, still coming from the building, as Sato's prepares to leave. Gotta head out and drive to the airport. You doing a Borderlands run, a run through later today? Yes, I said it was going to be Thursday, and it will be today. Once I get done with this session and have myself some food, then I'll schedule the last leg of my Borderlands 3 replay, and then we'll move from there. And then Friday and Saturday will probably be open days, so we'll work out what we'll do those days. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna be continuing Borderlands today. It will be a replay finale today. But back to Sato's as he's preparing to leave.
About 150 came through the first phase. Frankly, I was figuring on less than 100. We have an exceptional batch of applicants this year. Too bad, then, that Buhara and Minchi are the examiners for the second phase. Exceptional or not, this group may dwindle to 50 or less. Far less, depending on the circumstances.
And then Sato's is just standing there.
Perhaps I'll stay and watch.
And then it cuts to Kurapika and Gon running up.
We made it.
I don't see Hisoka or Leorio.
And then Gon is zoning in. Gon is zoning in to try and find where Hisoka is, and then he just senses behind him someone looking at him, and it's Hisoka just staring him down. And then while he's standing there, he smiles, and then points in one direction, as Kurapika and Gon go and see Leorio laid up against a tree.
Leorio!
But he's conscious, though.
Arm wound aside, you seem intact.
Not real pretty, though, huh?
When did you come to?
Oh, this is Leorio going. Oh no, this is Gon saying.
When did you come to?
Just now.
You look the same to me.
But how'd I get all beat up? Can't really remember much after entering the swamp.
And both Gon and Kurapika are all like, You want to tell him? And Kurapika is the first to say,
best to say nothing.
Right.
And then we get people talking with Gon going,
why is everyone standing around out here?
And then Killua comes in and goes, we can't get in.
Killua!
Yo, I see you actually got here.
How'd you manage that?
Followed your friend's cologne?
Yeah.
Weird, but whatever works. Must be half dog.
You think so? So why can't you get in?
And then there's growling coming in from inside the building.
That's why.
And there's a lot of growling, and there's writing on the top of the door that says second phase begins at noon.
As for the critter making that racket, it's anybody's guess. Guess we'll find out at noon.
And then time passes.
Not long then.
Nope.
And then we hear more sounds. And Leorio chimes in with,
everyone's pretty jittery. The suspense is certainly palpable.
And then other hunters are going, we gotta be ready
for whatever might leap out.
And then it turns to 12 noon. Finding, good to see you. Not flying, husband is, but I'll be safe all the same. Yes, and for the sir, may he have safe travels as well. Didn't know Hunter x Hunter still exists? Yeah. The last chapter, the most recent chapter, came out last year in December. There are still more chapters of Hunter x Hunter still going on. It was just a massive hiatus. But that's all I know. But it's 12 noon. Let me focus. It's 12 noon and the door's open. And the gurgling is not from a creature, but it's coming from the stomach of a very large man. While a woman is sitting on a chair directly in front of him. Like, he's so big, she's sitting right where his stomach is, but she's in a big chair. Dude is huge. And everyone is confused. Huh?
So, you hungry?
Hungry? I'm famished.
Okay, applicants, listen up. The second phase is cooking. We're gourmet hunters, so you'll be whipping up
viands? How do you say this word?
We're gourmet hunters, so you'll be whipping up viands to satisfy our discriminating palates.
Gourmet hunters. They travel the world in pursuit of rare cuisine and exotic foodstuffs. Often world-class chefs themselves, they focus on the creation of new delicacies. And everyone's confused.
Huh? Cooking?
Gon and Killua, Kurapika, Leorio.
First, you'll make a dish for me.
And if Buhara passes your effort, you'll be permitted to make one for me. You'll pass the second phase when you satisfy both of us. Once we've eaten our fill, the testing period will be over.
That guy could probably scoff and die of buffets, but I bet she's a nibbler.
That'll pare down the field. But cooking? And then Leorio goes, with his face still swollen because of Hisoka.
Jeez, I've never cooked in my life.
This certainly is unexpected.
What'll we have to make?
And then Buhara. That one cough previously really got me. Buhara says,
My dish of choice is whole roast pig. Can't wait.
and then it's just silent.
Any pig in this preserve will do. Ready? Then get cooking!
And then everyone just heads out to find a pig. Number of participants for second phase, part 1, 148. And then we get Leorio.
Ha! This shouldn't be too tough for the likes of us.
Catch and roast a pig. Seems simple.
But we better hurry. His appetite won't be infinite.
And then it cuts back to Buhara and Menchi, and she's laughing to herself because the background is kind of dark. There's an ulterior motive.
Any pig will do? That was mean. Here in Visca Forest, there is only one kind of pig.
And everyone is just searching for pigs of any kind, but apparently there's only one kind. So this really is a wild goose chase for a pig. But while Gon and company are running, Gon looks and he sees what appears to be giant pigs. I'm trying to do like a pig sound. And they snort in the direction. Mind you, these pigs are ginormous. They are rhinoceros size. They snort, and then we get Buhara's description of them.
The world's most ferocious pig, the Great Stab. They're fast, evil-tempered bulldozers. If an applicant's too slow, he's slop for hogs.
And these great stamps slam to where Kurapika and company are, but they all kind of get launched out of the way. And then we get Gon, who's airborne and upside down.
This is like
And then he thinks of Hisoka.
the thrill I felt earlier. But it's not like facing Hisoka. That was a real kicker.
And then Gon slams his fishing rod, which has to be ridiculously durable for it to do this, slams it on top of one of these pigs, and kills it instantly.
Nice one, Gon! Looks like you found their soft spot.
They may have developed those tough snouts to protect their delicate foreheads.
And then we just hear nothing but squeals throughout the forest as Buhara sees a whole crowd of people bringing all of these giant stamps directly towards him.
Here, whole roast pigs.
And it shows all of these pigs that have apparently been roasted. And it's just a whole bunch of them. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 so far.
Oh, lovely!
Was that too easy? Go ahead, tuck in.
And then it cuts to Satotes, who's just in a tree watching all of this.
An exceptional batch indeed.
And that's the end of chapter 10. And we get Buhara as the character photo at the end of this chapter. Okay, all right. Some semblance of my memory of the anime is kind of coming back to me, but I also feel like the anime took some liberties with certain episodes during this one particular part. Chapter 11. I was about to read without actually reading you the chapter name. My apologies, everybody. Chapter 11, The Inevitable Outcome.
Tasty. This one too. And this. Scrumptious!
And Buhara is eating all of these pigs. And apparently the snouts of these pigs is literally bone because it's not just there for show. It is literally just giant snouts that they have. And his stomach is sticking out of his shirt.
Splendid! I'm absolutely stuffed.
And then Menchi bangs on a gong. And we get the title card again. Chapter 11, The Inevitable Outcome.
That's it. That's it.
And it just shows Buhara behind a mountain of roasted pig bones. Mind you, Buhara is a very big dude, to the point where he's almost the size of an actual one-story house. The mountain of bones behind him exceeds his height.
What an appetite!
70 roast pigs! First of all, eating one whole pig is enough for a group of people. This man ate 70. 70. How your head not swimming from all that pork? I'm messing though. But everyone's amazed, and then we get Gon.
Hunters really are amazing, aren't they? He'd sure ace an eating contest. In a way.
And then everyone is going,
That doesn't make any sense! He ate far more than he could possibly hold!
Don't think about it too hard.
and then it cuts back to Menchi.
Glutton, you just wolfed them all down without judging their quality.
My stomach was really empty. Anyway, we've narrowed down the field a fair bit.
You're hopeless. Gourmet hunters should have discerning taste buds. Ah, well, so it goes.
And mind you, she's still holding the little gong mallet in her hands, and she goes,
The roast pig round is over. 70 applicants pass.
70? Not bad at all. And this is still Sato's. He has a monstrous appetite? Seems like it's the case. I wonder who would win in an eating contest, him or Pig God?
70. Not bad at all. True, killing a great stamp is simple, just a heavy blow to the head. But the blow must be precise, and that requires courage, decision-making skills, and athleticism. Of course, Menchi's up next, and she's very hard to please.
And then we get a description of Menchi.
Menchi, the gourmet hunter. One of the world's most prominent chefs and a true epicure. Her dishes reflect her artistry and sophistication. She has a voracious appetite for new dining experiences.
I stuttered, I know I did.
She has a voracious appetite for new dining experiences and demands utmost satisfaction from each one. Her contributions to culinary culture have been invaluable. This, at the age of only 21, has earned her the title of Single Star Hunter.
Single Star Hunter is the rating given to a hunter with many notable achievements in a single field.
Be aware that, unlike Buhara, I can be a very harsh critic. Second phase, part 2. And my dish is... sushi!
And this lights up, and this catches everybody's attention. I haven't had sushi in so long. I want sushi. I need to look at that recipe that Kitty put up in the post, in the channel. But it shows Karapika, Leorio, and Gon.
Sushi? What the heck's that?
They don't know what sushi is. And Hisoka is thinking, can't say even I know. And then other hunters are going, any idea?
Nope.
Talk about throwing a curve. How can we make what we never heard of?
I see that sea of blank faces. Not surprised. Sushi comes from a small island country. But don't despair. Come on in and check this out. Fully equipped sushi stations for everyone.
And that's in the building? The building wasn't that large. Where did all this come from? But also, full-on sushi stations. Kitty would kill at this.
You have all the tools you need, and the defining ingredient, rice, is cooked and waiting. Oh, and here's an important point. I'm partial to nigiri sushi, hand-molded. Man your stations. As before, the test is over when the examiner, that's me, is full. Until that point, make as many as you like.
Number of participants for second phase, part 2, 70.
And then we get everyone just talking about making sushi as a whole.
Nigiri shu sushi. Nigiri sushi.
And everyone is looking confused as to how to even make this. Even looking at their own utensils, confused of even how to use them. Then we get Gon.
Is it rice balls, maybe?
These knives suggest there's more to it.
And then we get Hanzo, who's laughing, going,
What incredible luck! That's my country she's talking about. I've got this one knocked. Better not appear too pleased, though. Let the rest think I'm flailing too, and they'll have no chance.
And then one dude is just hand molding rice, and he looks over at Hanzo, and Hanzo just goes, because he's laughing at him.
That guy, he knows.
He knows. He knows.
He knows.
He so frickin' knows.
And then we have Leorio and Kurapika.
Hand molded, and those knives suggest using meat, veggies. But what kind? I remember reading something about this dish. Let's see. Rice mixed with vinegar, yes, and combined with raw fish, I think.
Fish? In a forest?
Quiet! Forests have rivers and ponds.
And then, because of Leorio's big mouth, all the other participants immediately book it away from them, thinking, fish, 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 fish.
Nuts!
Those dirty rats overheard us! Yes, how dare they be in range of your megaphone mouth?
And then Hanzo sees it as well.
Ah, those guys caught on! To what, pray tell?
And then other hunters are listening in to Hanzo too. Then it cuts back to everyone trying to find a location that has fish in it. And everyone is just looking for streams and following them to ponds. People are getting spears ready, nets ready, diving into water, catching fish with their bare hands. And everyone's trying to get there. Everyone's got their fishes and they're running back to the stations to chop them up and make sushi. And we're seeing a whole bunch of strange creatures here. One that looks like a fish with spikes on its back. Probably should avoid those. Another one that looks like a sea cucumber, but with fins all around and like a what do you call it? Not osprey, but like a lamprey type mouth. And another one that looks like a stonefish. Definitely should avoid that one. But they're just bringing in random fish all over. And then we have Buhara.
and you say I mean.
Proper sushi requires seafood, but they're stuck with freshwater produce. Well, that makes it interesting. I've had my fill of proper sushi, so I'm keen to see what these guys come up with. I'm more a chef than an examiner anyway.
I don't know if that's smart.
Huh?
Never mind. Always a chef, huh? This could get ugly.
And mind you, this is Buhara saying this. He's looking at Menchi. Like,
I don't know if this is a good idea.
And then we have Leorio.
Here we go. Raw fish, vinegar with rice, all hand molded.
One sushi, genius!
One sushi coming up. My own on-the-spot recipe. I call it the Leorio Special. Eat hearty.
And Leorio is the first to bring a dish over to Menchi. She opens it, and it's literally a rice ball with fish just shoved in all places. Think shepherd's pie, but instead of a pie, the basis is an actual massive rice ball. Not only that, but some of the fish is still alive in it. Unsurprisingly, Menchi tosses the dish.
You're kidding, right?
What kind of critique is that?
You disputing my judgment? Back to your station. The shape is essential. To be nigiri sushi, it's gotta look like nigiri sushi. Nothing less.
Dang, I thought I had it.
Let's see how I do.
And Gon brings up his dish, and it's literally the same as Leorio's, except it only has one fish inside the bowl.
You taking lessons from 403? I'm just as bad as Leorio?
I feel for you, Gon.
Say what?
literally being insulted by the words of Gon. And like in Gon, it doesn't even mean it maliciously. He's just like,
I'm just as bad as Leorio?
and then we have another one, a rice ball on a skewer with a whole fish in it.
Wrong.
Then we have another fish that's been skinned, but it has rice sitting on the top.
Way wrong.
Then we have an onigiri, a classic rice ball with, the seaweed wrapped around it.
Right country, wrong dish. No one's produced one I even want to try. You all out to starve me or something? How dense can these guys be? I've been giving plenty of hints.
And then Leorio's quiet.
She's an examiner, testing us, so we ought to be able to figure this out.
Make as many as you like.
The shape is essential.
And this is the
shape is essential.
And this is Kurapika thinking like he's piecing it all together.
The shape should allow us to make a lot of them fairly quickly. A formula? Make one. Produce many? Do something with the rice and fish that can be readily done again and again. Is that it? She's holding 2 sticks as if they were utensils, and there's a dish of some condiment. If she can hold and dip the sushi with those sticks, one sushi must be only so big. I have it!
And then it cuts back to Kurapika, who makes the same exact thing as Gon. A rice ball with a whole fish in it.
Just as bad as 403's.
And then Kurapika, being compared to Leorio, is quite beside himself.
Is it that dramatic to be compared to me?
You're all hopeless! Pathetic! No observational skills, no imagination, and worse, no style!
And then Hanzo walks up. Not all of us. Here, actual sushi.
Now we're talking.
And then she eats it. This is Hanzo. Hanzo's the first dish she actually eats and doesn't toss.
Nope, no good. You can't.
But you can't mean it. Sushi is just rice molded into a bite-sized oblong shape and dabbed with wasabi with a slice of fish slapped on top. Nothing simpler, and it tastes the same no matter who makes it. And Hanzo literally just gave away how to make it, therefore giving the other contestants a chance. If it ain't Leorio, it's Hanzo. Oops, and then everyone's all like, so that's it.
Nothing simpler. Tastes the same. You Nimrod! It takes 10 years of training to even begin to make proper sushi. You pitiful examinees couldn't challenge a ranked beginner!
And Menchi is definitely upset. This is like telling a person that there's nothing to playing a trumpet. Like it would be telling me there's nothing to play in a trumpet, because there's literally a lot to play in a trumpet. I main a trumpet. Just because there's 3 keys doesn't mean it's easy to play every single note. It requires hand-eye coordination and remembering where each note is. And also proper lip and tongue control. So when it comes to cooking, never tell a chef that there's nothing to it when it comes to what they're making. That is literally the most insulting thing you can say to a chef. Or literally anyone of any profession say like, oh, there's nothing to being a spot welder. Oh, there's nothing to being an oil rigger. What is a proper name for it? The people who work on oil rigs and they work with those heavy machineries. Oh, there's nothing to it. There's no greater way to insult a person of a profession by saying that there's literally nothing to their job. So here, I understand her ire.
You pitiful examinees couldn't challenge a ranked beginner!
Huh?
Then what chance do any of us have?
Shut up, Baldy! You can't cut it! Too bad!
And then it cuts to Buhara, who's just thinking to himself, and off we go again. Once she gets worked up like this, she loses all perspective.
There are only a handful of chefs in the world who can...
There are only Sorry, I was confusing Menchi as the one saying this. There are only a handful of chefs in the world who can meet her standards. Because she's still going off on Hanzo.
All that yelling's made me hungry. Next challenger, come on.
And Hanzo just walks off completely defeated. Did you guys say sushi? Yes, sushi! Oh, what's going on, Ravi? And are you late? We are on chapter 11. We started at chapter 9, so you haven't missed a terrible amount. But it's good to have you here as well. Another member done walked in here. It's good to see you.
Next challenger, come on.
And then Hanzo is completely defeated, walking away, and everyone tries to give Menchi their own sushi.
Try mine! No, mine!
Ah, now everyone knows what to do. I'll have to actually test by taste now. This one? Nope! The rice doesn't fall apart on the tongue.
You're being rather picky.
I know what I like!
And even Buhara's all like, now you're being picky.
Don't you know you're supposed to slice the fish across the grain? Try again. The rice is the wrong shape. Molded with the thumbprint on the bottom. Don't press all the air out. It sucks! Too slow, your body heat transferred to the fish. No good. Remake!
And Menchi is, drinking some tea. And she sighs and goes,
That's it. I'm full now. But no one's passed.
I was about to say, wait, Gon. But then I forgot that Gon did the exact same thing as Kurapika. Well, did the same thing as Leorio, but with one fish, and Kurapika did the same. But apparently no one passed.
But no one's passed.
Applicant pool after the second phase. Part 2, 0.
And that is the end of chapter 11. And the character we get at the end of this chapter is Toto, which is one of the characters that Topa was talking about when we first got to the exam. Onwards to chapter 12. We're making good time, only 5 more chapters after this. Chapter 12, the chairman arrives. Oh, I've been wanting to do this dude's voice ever since I started. Not just Hisoka, but his. Chapter 12, the chairman arrives.
Look, that's just how it came out.
Look, that's just how it came out.
No, I'm not doing it over!
And then it cuts to Buhara and Menchi as she goes,
I didn't adhere to established criteria. How so?
because she's on the phone with someone.
It was established that I judge by taste. My taste.
And here you can tell that she's lost that cherub-like demeanor she had at first, and she's just straight up mad now.
Partly, but equally on an applicant's ability to pick up on your hints.
Oh wait, this is Buhara going,
Partly, but equally on an applicant's ability to pick up on your hints.
Will you stay out of this? There was a glitch. One of the examinees was familiar with the dish and spilled the beans to the rest of them, threw the whole thing out of whack.
and then it cuts to Hanzo, who realizes that it's because of him that everyone did the exact same thing and pretty much bum rushed this exam to making it so that no one passed. So it's literally Hanzo's fault that this happened.
That's not grounds to redo the test. It's decided. In the second phase, part 2, everybody's failed.
And she says this out loud for everyone to hear. And we see all the workstations that everyone's done to make all the sushi. I feel like anyone who's actually made sushi would literally lose their minds if they saw the cleanliness of the station. I know Kitty would. And then there's just murmuring throughout the crowd. And Leorio speaks up. She means it. And then one dude with a big old nose goes, "That's it? The end of the exam? That's ridiculous." And it shows Gon and Killua. And we cut to a whole different location altogether. And we cut to a building with a room that says 1209. And we have a small person with a very round head and a no nose and a simplistic design going,
Hello? Headstrong, that one. Chairman? She shut off her cell phone. What do we do now?
As you say, she's headstrong. She'll not budge on this one.
But the irregularities are piled up too high to ignore. She stopped testing and simply threw up a stone wall.
Well, we can't settle it here. Come on, let's go.
I do apologize for troubling you.
As it cuts to this, it shows an old man with big old bushy mustache, big old pointy beard, a top knot with a long hair, big old eyebrows, and him balancing his drink while he's drinking it on his foot, while he's also knelt down. Perfect balance, this old dude. But he's using a very, very long straw to drink it from.
I do apologize for troubling you.
Don't. This is a chairman's job. It's not like this hasn't happened before. Hunters are an oddball lot and can be quite stubborn. They should be, and usually are, very strict and nitpicky. There have been more than a few years when we haven't passed a single applicant. But we can't have an entire field thrown out because one examiner gets on her high horse.
And they prepare to leave in this gigantic blimp that appears to have the hunter symbol on it. And then we cut back to the exam hall. And Toto has apparently smashed his own station, and he goes,
I've had enough of this. You don't like our sushi? Too bad. I'm not here to butcher fish and mush rice. I'm here to become a hunter. A blacklist hunter at that. I want a real test, not this prissy gourmet hunter crapola.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah?
Yeah, 'cause this year's Gourmet Hunter crapola rules. Hey, better luck next year too, huh?
Don't you mess with me!
and Toto goes to try and hit Menchi, who doesn't move from her chair, because then Buhara gets up. And this dude has abnormally large hands. He comes up and he slaps away. He doesn't even punch him. He just slaps away Toto and sends him out of the window of the building, much to everyone's shock. And the dude lands so hard that I want to say all of his teeth were shattered from the slap. All of his teeth. All of his teeth. All of his teeth. We're just seeing the bits and pieces. This dude got slapped so hard, Buhara shattered his teeth. And then it cuts to Menchi, who had her arms behind the chair the whole time, but secretly showed that she was prepared to deal with Toto as well, because she has knives in both of her hands as she goes,
Buhara, that was uncalled for.
Not really. If I hadn't stepped in, you would have killed him.
He slapped away Toto to save Toto's life. The man may have lost all of his teeth, but at least he didn't lose his life because Menchi was about to dice him.
Perhaps.
And she says this while she's casually flipping these kitchen knives in her fingers, fast enough for them to spin like propeller blades.
He wants to be a blacklist hunter, huh? Remind him he was popped by a prissy gourmet hunter. Doesn't matter what kind of hunter you aim to be, you've got to be proficient in the martial arts.
And she's doing this while she's casually flipping her knives in her hands, just effortlessly.
Rare foods are often obtainable only in remote, inhospitable places, and we are frequently called on to run down and capture poachers. If you're any kind of hunter, the martial arts become second nature, as does the burning desire to challenge the unknown. That's what I seek in each of you.
Even so, isn't failing an entire applicant pool a bit abrupt?
As someone screams out on a megaphone, and it is the big old blimp that we saw that is already there.
Look up there! The Hunter Association logo! It's the judging committee!
And then someone, the old dude, just hops out of the blimp. Mind you, the blimp is in the sky. Not just in the close by air, like in the sky, just all the way up there. And he's wearing ghetto sandals, and he just lands casually in front of everyone.
Who's the geezer?
That jump must be 60 feet. Chairman Netero. Chairman Netero. Head of the exam commission.
And then this shocks everyone, because this is the chairman Like, I knew who he was because that's the memory from the anime I have, but at the same time,
And as such, I stick to my knitting unless something needs to be untangled. Minji,
Yes?
Wow.
She's not giving him any lip.
did you fail them because after testing their will to challenge the unknown, you found they lacked the desire? What a cutie.
and this is Netero thinking this to himself.
No. I got steamed when an examinee belittled the task. And then when they all inadvertently found out how to make the dish, I got really upset and lost my appetite.
Did this inhibit your ability to make a sober evaluation?
Well, I admit I get very emotional about food,
As do I. I get sad when I don't eat it.
and I failed as an examiner. I'll resign my post and withdraw my decision.
And then it cuts back to Toto, who is still holding on to his face that has been, almost shattered, losing teeth and bleeding from the mouth.
To continue the present test would compromise the results of the exam. Instead, I'd like you to stay on as examiner. However, you will participate in the new test yourself to set an example for these examinees. How does that sound?
And this catches Menchie's attention.
In other words, they'll know they have a shot.
And then it cuts back to Toto, who gets up and thinks, he growls to himself and thinks,
I won't forget this humiliation.
All right. How about we try boiled eggs?
and this catches everyone's attention.
Chairman, may we get a lift to Split Mountain?
Why, yes, of course.
And everyone gets in the blimp, and they fly to Split Mountain, which looks to be like a giant mountain with a ginormous split going straight down the middle.
Here we go.
And everyone peers down the cliff, and it's just a gigantic ravine. And then we have Toto, whose face has recovered enough where it's no longer bleeding. Still don't know if his teeth have reformed yet.
Jeez, that's some ravine.
And then it cuts to Menchie, who's taking off her shoes and goes,
Deepest one in these parts. There's a fast river at the bottom that'll whisk you right out to sea. Later, Gators!
and Menchie dives off of the cliff down into the ravine.
Huh?
And she's diving head first. She is diving head first. Whoa! And she's diving and diving. She's dead.
Hardly. The spider eagle lives here. She dove into their nesting area. They spin webs across the ravine to hang their eggs on, so land beasts can't reach them.
And it's literally as he says, there's strands going in between these ravines, and they are just chock full of eggs. And while Menchie is falling, she grabs onto one of the strands and goes,
Just grab a strand, collect an egg, and climb back up here.
So I thought she was going to use this as a way to slingshot herself back up, but no, she just grabs onto a strand, gets an egg, and then physically climbs back up the cliff.
And then boil it.
She makes it look easy, but who in their right mind would do that?
And this is still Toto. He's got like tissues in his nose to, hold back the bleeding. Then we have Killua and Gon going,
Neat.
Now there's a test.
Then Leorio chimes in.
Beats cooking 6 ways from Sunday.
Let's go!
And it shows Gon, Kurapika, Leorio, and Killua launching off the cliff. Mind you, Gon goes in head first. Kurapika does like a classic jump. So does Leorio. But Killua is the only one who just jumps off willingly with his hands in his pockets. No arms to ease his trajectory or nothing. Just hands in pockets. I jump off. Then we get back to Menchie.
That's it. That's it. No one else?
And then it cuts to Netero, who goes,
To accept your limits is no shame. You're welcome to take the exam another time.
Then it cuts back to Buhara, who apparently has a big giant pot over a fire, and all of those spider bird eggs are now in there.
Here's a chicken egg, and here's a spider eagle.
Spider eagle, not spider bird.
And here's a spider eagle egg. Try one.
And they try one regular egg, and then they try the spider eagle egg, and they go like, the Hanzo and the other examinees go,
It's delicious!
With a profound creamy texture that melts in your mouth. Regular eggs are rubber balls by comparison.
As I hope you now appreciate, not all treasures are jewels or metals or artifacts. We gourmet hunters live for such hunts.
And then Toto goes,
Could I try a bite?
and he's talking to Gon.
Sure.
And then Toto tries it, and then Menchi goes,
Well,
Okay, I'm sold. I'll be here next year.
and Toto has a little bit of character development. Willingly says, I understand my own limits. I understand my own weakness. I'll come back another time. But Menchi, seeing that he's learned his lesson, smiles.
Applicants passing the revised second phase, Part 2, 42.
And that is the end of Chapter 12. And the character we have at the end is Hanzo. Onwards to Chapter 13. We are making some real good time, everybody. Chapter 13, A Game at Midnight, Part 1. And everyone is on the chairman's blimp as Netero pretty much introduces himself.
I should introduce myself properly to all of you. I am Netero, chairman of the selection committee for this year's hunter exam. I figured I didn't need to show up until the final round, but now that I'm here, I suppose...
And everyone is tensing up because they're wondering what he's going to say next.
I'll accompany you for a while and enjoy this nice, edgy atmosphere.
And then we have the little person that was next to Netero back at his old room as he goes,
we'll arrive at our destination at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Until we notify you, please relax and enjoy the amenities aboard this airship.
And then it cuts to Killua and Gon going,
Come on, Gon, let's explore. You bet!
And then Leorio goes, kids, all that energy. All I want to do is crash.
As do I. This was a very long day indeed. The question now is, how many more phases lie ahead?
We don't actually know, do we? Every year's a bit different. The committee adjusts the number of phases each year depending on the examiners and the tests. And mind you, this is Topa. For as long as I've been doing this, it's arranged about 5 or 6.
So we're not even halfway done? We should rest up then.
Sure, but watch it. The guy said our next destination, which doesn't mean this airship isn't the site of the 3rd phase. And we'll be notified, but maybe not at 8 tomorrow morning. The test might be sprung on us at any moment. If you want to pass, you better not let your guard down, even up here.
And Kurapika and Leorio look at each other.
Psyched them. They'll be too nervous to get any rest.
And then it cuts to everyone chilling, relaxing, eating, getting some food. And then it cuts to Buhara and the rest of the examinees. Anyone wonder how many we'll get this year? No, sorry. This is Sato's going.
Anyone wonder how many we'll get this year?
You mean who will pass the exam?
Oh, no, that's not even Sato's who's saying that. That's Menchi.
Anyone wonder how many we'll get this year?
You mean who will pass the exam?
Yeah. I failed them all, sure, but still, there are some real contenders in this group.
Guess it'll depend on what gets thrown at him. Another Menchi would have taken him out.
There's that, sure. But I've noticed a couple who have pretty powerful auras. What do you think, Mr. Satots?
Well, now, I like the look of this year's rookies.
Yeah, same here. 294 looks sharp, though. Looks sharp, though bald.
Big plus, he knew sushi.
99 is my favorite so far.
But he's too obnoxious. Blood type B, I bet. Oh, wait. 99 is my favorite so far.
But he's so obnoxious. Blood type B, I bet. Not my type.
Hardly to the point.
How about you, Buhara?
Well, my money's on 44. He's no rookie, but this year there's something. As you probably noticed, when 255 was flipping out, 44 exuded a cold, intense bloodlust.
Yeah, I did notice. It seemed he could barely hold it in. He's been dangling it out there, a suitable threat, a subtle threat, ever since we showed up.
Really?
Yep, a constant undercurrent of provocation. That's one reason I got edgy.
I picked that up as well. He bears watching, no question. In terms of talent, I'd say he's right up there in our league. He just prefers to dwell in and strike from the shadows. We hunters are always on the lookout for worthy opponents. The hunter exam affords an opportunity to vie against others, seeking the same goal, the hunt that fulfills one's desires. 44 is an anomaly that appears from time to time. The exam is just one of many ways he seeks satisfaction. He'll surge forward when we deem it wise to hit the brakes.
And the person they're referencing and talking about is Hisoka. And it cuts to Hisoka, who's building an entire house of cards. And then he just touches it, and as they fall, he's just slightly shuddering, and he's just laughing to himself. And then it cuts to Gon and Killua.
Look at that. It's like a web of jewels. Say, Killua? Your parents, are they
Alive? I'm pretty sure they are.
What do they do?
Mass murder?
Both of them?
And Killua just looks at Gon and he starts laughing.
You're right. I really got you with that one, didn't I? But it's true, isn't it?
And Killua loses that smile.
You think so? Sure do. Interesting. My cute kid routine is about never letting on if I'm serious or not. Uh-huh. Assassination. It's the family trade. We all take it up. My folks see me as an exceptional prospect, but I don't see that I should have to live up to their expectations, you know? When I told them I'd decide my own future, they flipped. Go figure, they're awful. My mom, with tears in her eyes, said I was throwing my whole life away. Then things got nasty. I slashed her in the face, stabbed my older brother in the side, and ran away from home. Bet that still got them stirred up. They'll come after me. They come after me, I'll kill them.
And Gon is just listening to all of this.
After I get my license, I'm gonna hunt them down to the last one.
Sorry, that cadence was wrong.
After I get my license, I'm gonna hunt them down to the last one. Once I collect the bounties on their heads, I'll be set for life.
Then Chairman Netero walks past where Gon and Killua are, and he looks at him, and then his eyes open wide, and he, I guess, sends something towards Gon and Killua, and they both feel it, and they both turn around. And then Chairman is no longer in the direction they're looking, but he's in the this Joker fast. He sent this feeling towards the both of them. They felt it, and they spun around immediately. He's not there, but he's already walking up behind them. And it's only when he goes, "What's up, boys?" And he just looks at them, and it catches them both off guard.
Huh? Did you see anyone that way?
No. And then Killua looks at him and goes,
You're fast, old-timer.
Do tell. I was just strolling along.
And then all of a sudden, this crackling of energy can be felt between both the chairman and Killua, but it's really coming off of Killua because his hair starts to look a little bit more frazzled than normal.
What's your game? Killing time before the final phase?
No, I'm merely passing the time. You're the two youngest rookies, so what do you think?
Of the exam? It's fun. Lots of action, and no written test. It's a letdown. I figured it would be more challenging. Any chance of that happening?
Well, we'll see.
Let's go. We'll see means no.
Hey, hold on. Would you like to play a game?
And then both Gon and Killua stop.
You two against me. You win, I'll issue your licenses on the spot.
And then both Gon and Killua, that really does get their attention. And then Netero is bouncing a ball.
Simple rules. Take this ball away from me before the ship reaches its destination. Use any tactics you like. I will only defend.
And Netero has slipped into, like some athletic gear. Black tank top, some pants rolled up near the cuff. And then Killua.
We just take it away? Okay, I'll go first.
Step right up.
Funny guy, huh?
And then Killua starts walking. But then he starts walking, and then there's more Killuas, and they're all walking in a circle around Netero.
Say, he knows Rhythm Echo at such a young age, too.
One of the assassination arts, the enemy is entranced by the afterimage created by a varying cadence of steps, an advanced application of silent gates.
Huh? How's he doing that?
And it cuts to Killua while he's doing this rhythm echo, and he walks towards Netero, and he tries to grab him, but Netero immediately moves out of the way. And then it just shows Killua trying his best to catch him, but he keeps dodging effortlessly, having the ball balance on his head, having it balance on his toe, having it balance on his literal butt cheeks.
Man, he's a spry old coot. Can't touch him.
And then while Netero has one leg up,
well then, I'll just undercut him.
And then it cuts to Killua literally using all of his strength to land a kick on the shin of Netero. While it stops him, Gon just goes,
Ow! Nailed his pivot.
And it shows Killua's smiling face. And then it shows Netero's regular face. And then Killua's smiling face starts to turn into wide eyes, as Killua injured himself kicking Netero's leg.
Ow, 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 ow!
A good strong kick, well placed, would have shattered a normal leg.
Felt like I was hitting an iron post. Your turn.
And then he just motions over to Gon. And then Gon stretches.
Hoo-ha! And here I go!
And he speeds towards Netero.
Nice head of steam, but he's charging head on. Very foolish. Kids just don't think.
And when Gon gets close, he jumps right above Netero and winds up slamming his head directly into the ceiling.
Whoa!
Ow! So you can jump? Big whoop! Gotta gauge your thrust. You can...
Hold on. Checking. Got notified of a package at the door. Yep. Yep, package at the door. All right. Back to it. I had to double check there for a sec.
You can jump. Big whoop. Gotta gauge your thrust. You had him off guard.
True. He seems immature, but there's a sound brain in there.
Ah, blew it.
I think I've just found a viable playmate.
And then it cuts back to Topa, who's looking in on Kurapika and Leorio to see if they've fallen for his trap, and they went to sleep!
Asleep? They ignored me.
And that is the end of chapter 13. And the character we get at the end of this is Chairman Netero himself. Onwards to chapter 14. We're almost at the end. We're getting there. Chapter 14, A Game at Midnight Part 2. And time is passing, and Gon has, slipped into more comfortable clothes as he and Netero and Killua continue to try and steal the ball from him.
This is getting boring. Both of you attack me at once.
And Killua's getting mad, and then we get Gon going,
Okay, this is it!
and while he's keeping both, at the same time we get the same title card again. Chapter 14, A Game at Midnight Part 2. And Netero is having absolutely no trouble keeping away both Killua and Gon.
Wow, Netero's dancing around cool as a cucumber. But we're sweating like pigs. Even together, we're completely stymied. We've tried every standard tactic, nothing works.
Gotta say, your attacks don't amount to much.
And Gon goes in and tries to kick Netero, but then Netero dodges out of the way of this kick, but he also kind of gets hit because Gon slipped off one of his boots and then managed to hit Netero with his boot that way.
Ha! Cheater! Swinging your boots by your toes.
And while he's distracted by Gon, Killua comes in and hits Netero directly in the back, kind of momentarily making him fall away from the ball. Gotta go, it's already 1 a.m. Had to wake up to prepare your kids for school. I'll catch up later. Hey, it's perfectly all right. You do what you gotta do. This will be here for you to tune in later. Thank you for stopping by. And I really do hope you enjoyed being here on my channel for the first time. And I hope to see you again. You take it easy. But Netero gets nailed in the back, and the ball falls away, and Killua goes for it.
Aha!
Oh no!
And using his dexterity, he leans away and kicks away the ball from Killua.
Done.
Oh no, this is Killua going.
Darn!
And the ball is in the air, and then Killua... Netero goes after it as he goes,
Come to Papa!
And it gets slapped away from him because Gon used that his other boot and slapped it away from him.
You little vipers!
It's ours!
And then, all of a sudden, Netero shifts it into high gear and moves at a speed both Killua and Gon were not expecting, and he zooms past them and grabs the ball again, and he screeches to a halt, shocking both Gon and Killua.
I'll give you an A for effort. I'll give you an A for effort.
And then it shows Gon looking at the impact of where Netero launched from, and it shows that his footprint is embedded in the ground because of the amount of strength he put in there. And Killua can see it as well, and he goes,
That's it, you win. You're quitting? Why? We almost did it that time! You think so? He hasn't even used his right hand or left leg yet. We could be at this a year and never get that ball away from him. Really?
Saw that, eh? I tried not to make it obvious.
Well, you've had your joke. Ha ha. Come on, Gon. Nah, I think I'll keep at it.
And then Killua is just looking at Gon because he's all like, are you serious?
Didn't you hear a thing I said? It's pointless, stupid, moronic. Sure it is. Huh? But there's still time to get Netero to use his right hand. Okay. Have fun then. I'm hitting the hay.
And then Killua leaves, and it's just Gon and the chairman.
Netero? How'd he do that slow walking many kilos thing?
And then Netero is kind of quiet. And then he goes,
It's an advanced technique used mainly by outlaws. Not something a nice kid like you should learn.
It's impressive though, huh?
Yeah, it is, and he's certainly mastered it.
Killua's an amazing guy.
and he turns his back towards Netero. And then he tries to fake him out. And tries to grab the ball, and Netero just easily lifts it in the air and goes,
Nice try.
Worth a shot.
All that about my right hand was a nice bit of misdirection.
and then it cuts to Killua going,
Darn that old man.
and he's, about to round the corner.
Oh well.
And then it cuts to him bumping into some other contestants. Oops. Nick, he's all sweaty. Hey kid, where are your manners? And while he's going and reaching for him, he goes, hey! All of a sudden, these two contestants suddenly find their bodies, deciding they just want to see other people. Just, dude loses his arm, loses his torso, loses his head. Other guy loses part of his shoulder, part of his neck, part of his face. And then it cuts to Killua, who's smiling because apparently he's moving his arm fast enough after apparently killing these dudes.
If I'd have kept going, I would have wanted that ball enough to kill for it.
And then we cut back to Netero and Gon, and they're still playing keep away. And then Gon starts moving faster and faster as if he's trying to imitate Killua's his rhythm echo technique. And Netero is keeping an eye on him. Or not really that, it's just that Gon is moving fast enough where Netero is really having to keep his eye on him. And then Gon goes to move his arm, and then Netero is waiting for it.
Here it comes.
But instead, Gon uses his left side instead of his right side, and that takes him by surprise.
It's a feint, trying for the ball but going for a headbutt.
And then Gon is launching towards Netero. And he hits him in the chest, but it's not enough to really stop him. And Gon, apparently, Netero's body is hard enough where Gon is actually hitting his, feeling his own head because he got hit that hard. He still goes after him.
One more time.
Putting my steel abs again would split his head open, but relaxing him might lay me out.
And he dodges out of the way. He dodges out of the way of Gon, who tries to get him with another headbutt, and just allows Gon to slide and hit the other side of the room.
So I'd better dodge. Oops. Hope he's okay.
And then Gon gets up, and he's smiling.
You used your right hand.
So I did.
I did it! I got him!
What?
And then Gon just falls back, and he just falls asleep.
He couldn't be happier if he actually won.
And Gon is just knocked out. And then Netero just looks at the sleeping Gon, looks at the clock, dials on the phone on the ship, and goes,
Captain, it's me. On schedule? Good. Look, I'd like to ask a favor. Could you maybe slow the ship down just a little?
And it shows that Gon has definitely left an impression on Netero. But it shows Kurapika and Leorio sleeping, Hisoka lurking. We have Killua still kind of brooding after, not being able to take the ball away from Netero. Netero lifting weights after going through that whole ordeal. Gon covered up and sleeping. And time passing until it's 6-something? Looks like 6-something.
We have arrived at our destination. Sorry for the slight delay.
And both Kurapika and Leorio, whose face is still swollen after being punched by Hisoka, they look out the window, and we see this plateau. We see this plateau of which a giant tower is on. And they land at the top of the tower. And then we get everyone voicing what this place is.
This is the middle of nowhere. Wonder what's supposed to happen.
And then we get the attendant that is always there with Netero.
We are at the top of Trick Tower. This is where you enter the third phase. As for the test itself, the examiners have informed me that you have 72 hours to reach the base of Trick Tower alive.
And then it cuts to the inside of the tower, and there's many rooms in this hallway. And we got some dude with super huge glasses with spiky hair, another dude with swept back spiky hair and a scar, a V-shaped scar going down the side of his face, and another guy with a big old honking nose with his eyes like, just looking like that. And the dude with the glasses goes,
Showtime, guys.
It's not Toppa, it's Tonpa. Sorry, I got his name wrong, Tonpa. But that's the end of chapter 14, onwards to 15, and the character we have at the end of this chapter is Tonpa. Chapter 15, The Path of Majority Rules. And we cut to the Trick Tower at the top, and the airship leaving.
Begin your descents. Good luck to all of you.
Applicants entering the third phase, 40.
And all these applicants are thinking the same thing.
72 hours to reach the base. Alive.
And then someone is going, no windows, no steps, climbing down would be suicide. Sure, for most guys. And we have contestant 86. And he just starts climbing down the side.
Plenty of handholds for an expert rock climber like me.
And he's just climbing down the tower. And Killua and Gon are watching.
Wow, he's almost out of sight. Look!
And it shows something in the distance flying towards the Trick Tower. And contestant 86 is still going down, going,
looks like I'm gonna be the first one down.
And then we get more flapping, and louder flapping. As we see that there's these giant creatures with wings. I'm not even going to call them birds because they are not birds. These giant creatures flying in, some with human faces, but lots of sharp teeth. It's like looking at a titan, an abnormal titan, but if the titans had wings. And they all bear down on the dude trying to climb outside the tower. And they pick the shadows and silhouettes of what happens to him is him literally being picked apart. With Leorio going,
Guess that's not the best way down. Darn creepy birds. Look, around there. Around there must be a hidden door somewhere.
And everyone is looking for the entrance. And then one dude, you know, the brother with the curly hair, he starts walking around and he steps on a tile and he notices it before anyone else. And he touches it and it folds under itself, allowing him to slip inside without anyone noticing. He just laughs to himself and slips in there and no one sees. Everyone else is looking for entrances. Then we cut back to Leorio and Kurapika.
What? The group is thinning out. 21, 22.
Only 23?
Almost half are gone. Did you notice anything?
No, so how long?
I doubt they went together by the same route. There must be multiple trapdoors.
And then it cuts to Gon and Killua.
Leorio! Kurapika!
Gon!
We found a trapdoor! Not sure what's next, though.
Huh? What the heck's the problem?
Well, there's more than one. So which to take?
And then we cut back into that same hallway that we saw those three individuals inside.
They're finding their way in. Let the test begin.
And the dude with the big glasses whistles, and numerous hooded people walk out from inside of one of these tunnels. And they all have shackles on their arms. They all have shackles around their wrists.
Go! Take your positions.
Yes, sir.
One here, And here. And 3 more right there.
And this is Bone. This is Bone. This is Gon pointing this out.
5 in all, grouped close together. Interesting. No doubt there are traps under most of them. No doubt.
And it looks like they can only be tripped once.
Yeah. Why?
We saw someone fall through over there. But when we tried it, it wouldn't budge.
Cause the dude, the brother with the curly hair and the JJ cap thought he was slick and no one would notice him, but Gon and Killua were just looking at him the whole time like, hey.
Guess it's 1 trapdoor per applicant. We're each on our own. Could be. They're barely wide enough for 1 person.
And then it just shows all 4 of them, Kurapika, Killua, Gon, and Leorio just standing there.
Gon and I figure we'll each pick 1.
If they're traps, oh well. How about you guys?
And then it just shows Kurapika and Leorio.
Why not? This may be a test of luck. Who gets to pick first?
Rock, paper, scissors!
And it still shows someone is still up there on the roof, on the top of this tower with them.
Okay, that's settled. On the count of 3, we all hop in.
Guess it's so long for now. See you on the ground. Right.
1,
2,
3!
And they all jump in their own trapdoors, and they are in the exact same room, with Leorio being the only one to actually land on his head somehow, despite the height not appearing that far. And they're all just looking at each other. And then Gon and Killua are laughing.
All 4 doors dropped us in here? What a jip! Short trip. Yep. There doesn't seem to be an exit.
And then they all zone in on one location, and it's a sign that says, "The path of majority rules. The 5 who drop into this chamber must find their way down together by consensus of the majority."
5?
Because, mind you, it's Leorio, Killua, Gon, and Kurapika. So there's someone else in there with them. And they look on the table, and on the table are 5 wristwatches.
5 wrist timers, too. With buttons marked X and O. 5 are specified, so 5 it must be. It does not look like we will be leaving this room until 1 more applicant joins us.
Very good.
Very good. There are many ways down, each route with different requirements. This is the path of majority rules, and it cannot be traversed by 1 person alone. Cooperation will be the essence of success. Good luck in that endeavor.
And then the speaker turns off. And then Leorio sits down.
Great, so we wait.
And then time continues to pass. Mind you, they have 72 hours to get from the top of the tower to the bottom of the tower. And time continues on.
It's been 2 hours. Has everyone else already found a route down? Or are they too moronic to ever find one?
And it shows Leorio getting very, very upset. Then it shows a sound above them, and it looks like someone's about to fall through the roof into a trapdoor. And the person that falls through the roof is Tonpa! And that's the end of chapter 15. Onwards to chapter 16. And the character that we get drawn at the end of this is Bendot, or Bendo. Onwards to chapter 16. 1 more after this, and then we are done with volume 2. And now Tonpa is here with chapter 16. The Taskmasters enter the stage. And Tomba puts on his wrist timer. There now. Aha!
So the door is programmed to appear when all the timers are put on.
And then it comes back to Tonpa, who's trying to make himself leader and say, like, let's check it out.
Who died and made you leader?
Chapter 16, again, they're showing the title. The Taskmasters enter the stage. And they walk to the door, and they walk through it. And it's, a space opens up for a door, but the door opens up fully, and it looks like there's a question on it. Open this door. O means yes. X means no. Because in classic games, classic Japanese games, X isn't usually the button you hit, especially on PlayStation. X is not the confirmation button. X is the go back button. Whereas here in America, we treat X as the confirmation and circle as the go back. Open this door. O, yes. X, no. And they're just standing there with Leorio going, we have to agree already? Pretty obvious choice anyway. And everyone just logs in their choices and the door begins to open. And it shows that someone voted for no, let's not go, while everyone else did. And then it shows that the only one voted for X, and then Leorio immediately gets curious about, like, anybody want to cop that X? Yeah, sorry. That was me. Finger slipped, I guess. And Leorio just stares at Tonpa. That's right, buddy. Hey, could happen to anybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Just don't let it happen again. Get me? Because Leorio is onto him.
Leorio, the door's open, come on!
No, we start off together or not at all. Finger slipped my eye. What a crock! This is just wasting time. Yeah. He wants to be in the minority, let him. The majority decides, remember?
All right, let's go.
And then they go into another room, and it's a room with bars on both sides. And another question. Which way? O, right. X, left. This could get monotonous. Left. Yes, if we can't go 5 feet without taking a vote. And it shows that only 3 people voted for right, and 2 people voted for left. And this gets on Kurapika's nerves. Right? Look, in a maze, you want to go left. I want to go left. I need to go left. Right makes me nervous. And then it cuts to Kurapika, who goes, behavioral research has shown that people who are lost will unconsciously tend to go to the left. I heard that too. Hold on a sec. Screw research. Where did you pick? Which did you pick? And then it shows that the ones who chose to go right was in fact Kurapika and Killua. The very people that says, like, it's instinctual for people who are lost to go left, they're still the ones who chose right. Are you nuts? And then it cuts to Tampa, who goes, the reasoning is sound enough, I think. The examiners probably know the left-hand rule and use it to trip up the unwary. Exactly.
Huh.
Fine, so we're naive.
And then it cuts to, no, this is, Leorio's still going, fine, so we're naive, so what?
You mean me too?
And then they continue to go through the hallway, and then it cuts to... Then it cuts to them going around a corner, and he and Leorio going, hey! And it's just... They're standing in front of what appears to be a bottomless pit, with a wide platform in the middle, and another screen. Killua is looking across the way, and he sees those same hooded people that have cuffs on their arms standing across the way, and he goes, look. And then one of the people with shackles goes, the examinees are here. Unlock my cuffs.
Unlocking.
And then the cuffs come off, and the dude takes off his hood, and it's an incredibly muscular guy.
That's better. Now to business.
This dude is massive. His neck is almost as wide as his head. Numerous scars all over the top of his head. Killua's looking serious. Tonpa, Gon, Kurapika, Leorio.
The committee has selected us as your taskmasters. You 5 will challenge the 5 of us. We will battle one-on-one, each going only once. Decide for yourselves the order you will go in. Win the majority of the matches, best of 5, and you may pass.
The rules of combat are simple. Fight any way that suits you. There will be no draws. There will be no draws. To be declared the victor, your opponent must admit defeat.
Yo, Zakaruga. Hey, Q, is this your first time on Hunter x Hunter? Reading the manga, yes. I watched the anime, but that was years ago. Many years ago. I want to say maybe 2, maybe 3 years ago. So my memory of this whole series all the way up to where the anime stopped is very, very spotty. But reading through the manga will rejog my memory and go past where the anime was so I can see where the story is currently. So it's I want to say it's just a refresher of Hunter x Hunter for basically everything that I forgot.
There will be no draws. To be declared the victor, your opponent must admit defeat. Will you accept this challenge? Vote now. Circle for yes, X for no.
Another freaking vote? Why do we have to do this every time? I've heard of voting early and often, but this is just ridiculous.
And of course, Leorio is complaining again.
The vote should be unanimous this time.
And then Tonpa goes, yeah, I get the picture. And mind you, when he says the vote should be unanimous this time, he gave Tonpa the stink eye for it. Everyone votes, and it's unanimous. They're all gonna fight.
You're on, pal. Let's rumble.
Very good. I'll take the opener. Pick your contender.
And then Tonpa steps forward first.
I'll go first. We can fight any way we like, right? So who knows what they'll do? I'll go out there and take their measure. Least I can do, really. I know I've given you plenty of reasons not to trust me, so you'll prefer it if I get out of the way before the chance of a tiebreaker. Okay, then. Wish me luck.
And then it shows a bridge extending outwards towards the center platform.
Only the contender may cross.
And mind you, the bridge that allows you to walk over here, no guardrails. It's narrow. It's narrow. You wouldn't catch me on this. Too narrow. All it takes is just a on the side of my ear for me to lean out the way the wrong way, and then I won't be taking the exam ever again. That's all it takes. That is a and you dead type bridge right there. Just a subtle cough will throw off your equilibrium and send you tumbling down. I ain't walking on that. That's crazy. But Tonpa gets extended all the way over to the platform. He's there along with the other Taskmaster. And the Taskmaster goes,
how shall we do this? My choice would be a fight to the death. We go until one of us admits defeat or dies.
And then Tonpa sits there for a moment and goes,
very well, to the death.
And Leorio is even surprised by him going, wait, seriously?
I respect your determination. All right. Let's begin.
Let's begin! And Big Dude runs. And then Tonpa immediately bends the knee and bows and goes,
I'm done! You've beaten me!
Surprising literally everyone. Everyone gets block-faced. Everyone gets block-faced over Tonpa's decision.
Did he just fold?
Can't be. He's faking the guy out or...
What did you say?
I said you've beaten me.
Why that? And the Taskmaster is just laughing. Then it cuts to the other people on the other side, and there's a counter, and it goes from 0 to 1.
2 to go. And then you'll have no choice but to fail the exam. I'd say you're all pretty well stuck at this point. Still, would you like to continue?
And it just shows Leorio, Kurapika, Gon, and Killua on the other side.
We'll need 3 wins out of 4.
And then it cuts back to Tonpa, who walks over to them.
I know, real lame, but he looked a lot tougher up close.
Then Leorio grabs him by the scruff of his neck.
Scum, I know your game. You like to trip up others. Hold them back.
And then Tompa finally reveals his true colors to them.
Well, pin a rose on your nose. You finally figured that out, eh? What you gonna do about it?
And then it cuts to the people on the other side. One of them under the hood going,
Unity fraying already. This might be too easy.
And then it has Tonpa going,
Fact is, unlike you guys, I have no desire to become a hunter.
and that's the end of chapter 16. Onwards to chapter 17. Allow me to go back and make sure that this is indeed the last chapter for this volume. Yep, only one chapter left. Onwards to chapter 17. Disparate choice. Not desperate, but disparate choice. Chapter 17, disparate choice.
I've no interest in passing the hunter exam. I just do it for a thrill, you know? By keeping an eye on the dangerous applicants and staying with the pack, I can avoid being taken out. To me, this is really just entertainment. A way to indulge my morbid proclivities. A way to indulge my morbid proclivities. On this proving ground where so many bright futures are in the balance, it's been a kick to watch the faces of those whose dreams are dashed. Such a kick, in fact, that now I actively trip newbies up just to see them squirm and suffer. It's a real rush.
Chapter 17, disparate choices. Once again.
It's what I live for, you know? Becoming a hunter would be pointless. I usually stop at this point. The pack's been thinned, the dangers get worse, and I'm too exposed. Since I don't care if I win or lose, I don't press my luck.
And then, of course, given everything that has happened during this entire exam, this gets Leorio wound up.
But since I'm caught up in this majority rules business, I can't bail yet. So who goes next?
And mind you, all the other people on the other side are laughing.
Keep quarreling. Yes, waste time. The longer you take to settle things, the shorter our prison terms become.
There are these 5 are very long-term prisoners, each serving consecutive sentences totaling well over 100 years.
And then we get the name of the guy for this place. The dude with the super large bifocals. Chewing on something. Is that a rice cracker? Might be a rice cracker. I never had a rice cracker before, and I want to try it one day. I want to try a lot of Japanese cuisine one day. His name is Lippo, the 3rd phase examiner.
Lippo, 3rd phase examiner, bounty hunter and prison warden. He has offered to shorten the sentences of these inmates by 1 year for every hour they can stall and frustrate any examinee. Bendot, convicted of robbery and murder.
Sorry about that, everybody. Back to it. I'll cut out this pause in post. But
Lippo, third phase examiner, bounty hunter, and prison warden. He has offered to shorten the sentences of these inmates by 1 year for every hour they can stall and frustrate any examinee. Bendot, or Bendot, Bendo or Bendot. Bendot, convicted of robbery and murder. Total sentence, 199 years. Not quite the bout I hoped for. Figured I'd toy with him until time ran out.
And while he's doing that, his shackles get relinked again.
The first guy was pitiful. Clearly no fighter. But still just 2 more wins. And they'll be stranded here for the remainder of the exam period. That'll knock a sweet 72 years off all our sentences.
Then we get back to Bendot again.
It's in the bag. I mean, 2 of them are just kids.
I'll go next. Cuffs off, please.
And then Lippo disconnects the cuffs, and it's a very thin person.
Quiet, you two. I overheard them. They have a real stake in this. They're actual prisoners.
Yes. They're actual prisoners?
Yes. I surmise that the longer they hold us off, the more their sentences will be reduced.
Your bickering is only helping us.
Your bickering is only helping them.
Then it comes back to Killua.
Well, Tonpa, if stalling us is their goal, you made the smart move. That bald guy looks ex-military,
And mind you, this is Killua.
That bald guy looks ex-military, probably a mercenary. He'd have crushed your larynx first so you couldn't cry uncle. Then he'd have tortured you slowly without killing you for as long as he liked.
And this thought kinda doesn't sit well with old Tonpa.
Yeah, I knew that. It sure did.
You look like you're gonna be sick. Anybody want to be next? Me! I'll go!
And it's Gon who raises his hand first. And they're all just looking at Gon weirdly like, dude, are you serious?
You sure about that? Yep. You know, as bad as I spell things out, you never blink. Doesn't anything faze you? Sure, but this next guy doesn't look so bad. He's still a criminal.
And then Killua just stares at this guy. And this dude has classic emo bangs, just like covering one eye, like,
all I think about is darkness and despair. Leave me to wallow in my loneliness.
he looks like that. And Killua's just staring at him.
He's no bruiser like the first guy anyway.
And then the bridge extends, and Gon manages to be on the second platform, the first platform with the guy.
As you can see, I'm not much to look at. Strength, speed, they're not my thing.
Sedokan, convicted of serial bombing. Total sentence, 149 years.
I'm into him myself. I like adventure over thinking.
Do you now? Then here's a simple game that'll suit both of us.
And then Sedokan brings out 2 candles.
No, not dynamite. Candles. We each take one, light it, and try to keep it lit. First one snuffed loses. How's that sound?
Simple enough. Okay, I'm in. Let's do it.
Good. Well then.
And Sedokan shows 2 candles, but they both are not the same size. One is easily shorter than the other.
All of you pick a candle. As you see, you have a choice of sizes. Press O, circle for the long one. Press X for the short one. I'll wait.
And they're all thinking, it's a trap.
The long one is the obvious choice.
Oh yeah, obvious.
But there's gotta be a catch. And then Kurapika,
no doubt there is, though the catch might be picking the short one.
That gets us nowhere fast!
I agree. What we have then is a disparate choice. When someone is presented with an obviously biased choice, suspicion mounts and the decision-making process seizes up.
This is the old maid. Would I lie to you?
Moreover, the psychological impact of a wrong choice in this circumstance is much greater than in situations that seem genuinely random.
And then Seto-kan just sits down and goes, discuss it, kick it around, turn it inside out, examine every angle. There's no rush, believe me. Rats! He's got us! Because if they stand there deliberating, that's just more time wasted. Then Kurapika is thinking, and then he goes,
Gon, listen, you decide. Choose the candle, and we will vote in accordance. Second guessing is useless, so we will depend on your instincts.
My choice, huh? All right. I picked the long candle.
And then Kurapika is immediately thinking, uh-oh.
Are you sure? Of course. The long one will burn the longest. It's a no-brainer.
And then everyone is all like, he can say that again! Because Gon is so simple. And then Kurapika and everyone is just like, oh well, in for a penny, in for a pound. And they all vote for the long one. Here you go. And then Seto-kan tosses it to Gon. Long one for you, short one for me. Okay, we light our candles at the same time. And they light them both. And the game begins. And then it's just time passes. And then it cuts to the flame of Gon, and it starts to flutter, but he puts his hand up.
Whoops.
Oh, wait.
Whoops, that was close.
And time continues. Oh, I realize. Oh, wow. How did I forget the catch to this whole thing? Time passes with Killua going, wonder how long these candles will burn. 5 to 6 hours, I expect. Drafty place, though. They'll have to stay as still as possible and keep an eye on those flames. And then it shows Gon's flame suddenly sparking quickly. Shows his flame sparking quickly, even quicker. Hey, goes Leorio. And it starts to fizzle faster, causing the candle to burn faster. And then Seto-kan kind of laughs to himself. Gon's candle! It's flaring up! And burning down like a cheap cigar! No regular candle does that! It's been spiked with an accelerant! Or no, sorry. Leorio doesn't speak like that. Kurapika does. No regular candle does that! It's been spiked with an accelerant! And it starts to burn faster. Look, it's down to a nub! And the wax is starting to lightly burn Gon's fingers. It'll only last a couple minutes! Ouch! Hot! The long one was the wrong choice after all! Wrong. I had 4 candles on me. The despaired choice was just my way of hiding the real trap. You assumed one would be a trick candle. Assuming that, you also assumed the other would be safe. What you didn't know was that I had an oil-soaked one of each length. And then it just shows... Gon smiling to himself. Huh?
This is burning so fiercely that it'll take a hurricane to blow it out.
Because Gon just puts his candle down. And then Seto-kan can only gulp as Gon rushes him.
Such speed!
And he's right in front of him. And Gon just blows out Seto-kan's candle.
Whew! I win!
And then Lippo's watching going, the kid's good. And that is the end of chapter 17. No character at the end of this particular chapter. And now we have reached the end of this volume. Ladies and gentlemen, volume 2 of Hunter x Hunter. My goodness, this is getting good. I'm enjoying myself with this story. I completely forgot how this whole arc turned out, but I can't wait to read it for you guys next week, same time. But overall, I am happy I am actually reading Hunter x Hunter from the very beginning once again. I am so happy about that. But thank you all for tuning in to this dramatic reading of Hunter x Hunter, and I will see you all next Thursday, same time. Once I eat food, then I'll set up the stream for Borderlands, or I could just save it. I could just save it until tomorrow, but more than likely, I feel like I want to do it for today, regardless of how long it takes for me to eat my food. I'll set up the stream once all is said and done. But Ogata, Zakaruga, Mihai, Shekina, everyone, Ravi, everyone who tuned in, Kitty, all of my members, all of my subscribers, and all the new peoples, thank you for stopping by. Hope you all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. Have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.